Hello and welcome back to the Honest Lab Horror Show, the show that we bring to you each and every Friday night. Why we do this on a Friday night? Because Friday night is horror night. Welcome back to the show, folks. As you can see, another guest, but you can see by the brightness in the background there that we're stateside again. But don't adjust your sets. This is a special one. This is the man who holds the record for the most feature films in his career at 181 films. Yeah, you heard that right. 181 films this man has directed. This is director Mr. Dustin Ferguson. How are you, sir?
I'm great. Thank you for having me here.
Absolutely. Thanks for taking the time out of your day for coming on. Hope that intro was correct. I just wanted to make sure before, obviously, we spoke off screen, but 181 films, man. That's unreal.
As of recording right now, yes.
Nice. So then let me see. How many have we got in production that's ready to come out to up that?
I think, Cyborg Overture and Rebirth of the Living Dead will be the next two.
Nice. So you'll be at 183 at some stage this year.
Yeah.
Nice. It's a nice gap.
Yeah.
We take some time to catch that. But obviously, we'll touch on some of the films in a little while. But Dustin, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself and how you got started in the business?
Yeah. I was a big fan of horror movies growing up, and I went to school for business management, entrepreneurship, and actually opened up a video store back in Nebraska. And I started making movies on the side, sort of just for fun with my friends because I was doing editing. I was a self-taught editor and I got hired to edit Sleepaway Camp 4 back in the early 2000s. And so that was sort of like what launched my career. And so I got into editing that way. And then I started making films, and it was really beneficial for me as a filmmaker because I knew editing already. And so I had actually done 50 films in Nebraska. Nemesis 5 was my 50th film there. And I decided at that point that I was going to sell my video store. And so I sold it to one of my regular customers. And I took all the money that I got from that, moved out to California, and I've been here for 9 years doing it full time and at 181 films now.
In 9 years.
Well, it's 20 years total because I've done 50 films up to that. And then, yeah, I've done about 130 since I've been here.
That's unreal.
I
that's,
know.
that's not even unreal. That's ridiculous. Do
It
you ever
is.
take a break?
I mean, I do, but it's sporadic, when I can.
Yeah. What's a break? A weekend off?
I can't even, I mean, because that's the thing. I'm so used to working and doing so much that I get bored easily. So if I try to take a break, it lasts like half a day and I'm doing something else already.
Yeah. Look, what's going to happen is you'll end up taking a long break, and that'll be the end of it. Then you'll be like, nope, I'm done.
And that's what I'm afraid of happening. So I really don't want to do that. It's like I have the energy now and I have a lot of inspiration. So I just keep going.
Isn't it like that saying, Joe, when you get older and you retire, then usually when you retire, then you don't last much longer.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I can
So
retire when I'm dead.
keep on going. Fire
Yep.
them out until the last day.
Yep.
But obviously you said you're an editor as well, and that's where it all started. I'd say that's fierce handy in terms of not having to hire somebody to do it for you,
Hmm.
so your budget can kind of go elsewhere.
Well, exactly. And it also saves on filming itself because I don't waste time getting extra footage I know I don't need. I go in there knowing exactly what I'm going to use in the edit. And it just saves a lot of time.
Oh, nice. I never thought about it that way, actually. Yeah, don't have all those extra scenes to cut out.
Right.
I mean, like, it's obviously quite a relatively good process for yourself. Obviously, having put out 130 films in 9 years, um, that you are efficient. You go in, you know what you want, you're in, you're out, and you're done.
Yeah. And I
So
mean, it's very streamlined at this point. We have distribution set up for each one ahead of time, and there's usually three or four in different processes of production. So I have like one that we're just starting, one we're in the middle of, and one I'm kind of finishing, and it just is always going that way. So that way, there's always every month I have a movie coming out.
nice. That's seriously impressive. It's like a well-oiled machine.
Yeah, I try to be.
Yeah. So I want to go back to a point you made. You said you owned a video store, right?
Hmm.
That's awesome. So, like, obviously, I spent a lot of my youth growing up in video shops, and then I ended up working in one over here. I do miss them awful. Like I know for a fact I wouldn't go in and rent something now, but I'd like the idea to be able to go in and look around that kind of way. So something we always say then when we talk about video shops with certain people, is there the artwork on the boxes of videos, right? Obviously, you
Mm.
own them, you would have had them. Is there any that stands out in terms of the horror world for you?
Any of the artwork that stands out?
Yeah, remember like the
Well, as a
boxes.
kid, yeah, as a kid, it was the Faces of Death movies because those
Oh,
are the forbidden ones, you know, like those are really scary. They had all the warning stickers all over the box. And so for me, that was like what I wanted to see because it's what I wasn't supposed to watch.
nice. Like when people ask me, there's one in particular. Well, technically, there's two. Do you remember the blue cover for Nightmare on Elm Street?
Yeah.
Yeah, so the
Hmm.
blue one, obviously, Nightmare on Elm Street's my favorite horror film of all time. So that one always stuck out. But the one that I really loved was House. Remember the little finger pushing the doorbell?
Yeah.
That
I
was
love that
so good.
series.
That
House
was.
4 is my favorite.
I didn't even know there was a four.
Yeah, there's four of them. Yeah, part four is a direct sequel to part one, actually. It has like his wife and daughter come back and everything. It's really cool.
Interesting. I'm actually due. I have the four of them saved there. I'm gonna watch them. Or sorry, I had two of them saved. I didn't know it was a fourth one, and the third
Yeah.
one I just can't seem to get a hold of. So
Well, the third one is under a different title. It's called The Horror Show. And so it was
maybe
only
that's it.
released as House 3 in some countries, but so it's grandfathered in as part of the series.
Oh, maybe that's why I couldn't find it.
Yeah.
Oh, but I have the first two. Now I know that there's a number four. I'll go and find the rest of them. But yeah, the artwork for House was brilliant.
Yeah.
That's the one I always bring up. People always say to me, "Oh, it's this, it's that," but no, that was my favorite.
Yeah, it's real creative.
Yeah, it was awesome. But right, let's jump into a few like of your films. Obviously, you said you started and you had 50 films edited and done by the time you left Nebraska. What's that? Say 9 years ago. So what's that? 2017, 2016,
Yep.
maybe.
Yep, 2017.
Nice. So what was your first film then when you moved out to California?
Well, I signed like a four-picture deal with Wild Eye Releasing. And so that was sort of like what got me to move out here. And I think the first one I actually did was a movie called House of Pain. And it was similar to The Strangers. It was like a home invasion movie.
Ooh, I do like home invasion movies now, especially like when they're done well. Like The Strangers, is obviously it wasn't groundbreaking because it had been seen before, but it was done
Mm,
so fucking well. I remember going to
yeah.
see that in the cinema, and the scene when she turns around, the head's just popping in the window, and it pops back out. I was like, "Good lord!" Because obviously,
Yeah.
those kind of films could actually happen. Like obviously, the likelihood
Yeah.
of meeting a cannibalistic family that decide to chase you down with a chainsaw is very unlikely. But someone breaking into your house and just tormenting you is more than likely could happen. So
Yeah, it's
no,
very plausible. Yeah.
obviously the home invasion movies, so they were quite a big thing for a while. Um,
Yeah, like in the early 2000s, definitely.
yeah, so you would have come in, you made this. Was the four films with them all in the same bracket, or was it four different films you done with them?
Yeah, they were all like I think that was I had Robo Woman was one of them. And then there was yeah, House of Pain. I think Apex Predators was one of them. I can't really remember because that was literally like 125 movies ago.
Apex Predator. That sounds.
It's a shark movie. There's two of them. They were one of the
I've
first
seen
one
that
came out
one.
on yeah, the first one came out on Rift Tracks actually.
Yeah, that one's on Air Amazon Prime over here. I only watched that recently. Yeah, I only watched that one recently. It's the one with Sean C. Phillips in it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it is.
I think he has a small part in it, doesn't he? But it's
Yeah, they're like stoner guys that are
yeah,
like, commentating on everybody at the beach.
yeah. Obviously, from doing this show, I sort of get to know certain people, and I recognize people now when I'm watching them. I was like, I know
Mhm.
that guy.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. Can't say I do love an L Shark movie now. I must say. Um, I do love an L Shark movie. This is the one that has the cover with the shark and the girl swimming up, isn't it?
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was The movie, so it was meant to be satire because the original title for the movie, well, there's two of them. First, it was called Los Angeles Shark Attack, and then it got changed to Jaws of Los Angeles, and then Wild Eye released it as Apex Predators. And so people, it's kind of mismarketed in a lot of ways as like a serious shark film with the artwork and the title, but it's meant to be like a really campy spoof, like 60s kind of
Yeah,
beach movie satire. And I think a lot of people didn't understand that. And so with part two, I like made it real obvious because we made the sharks breed. It's kind of like Piranha 2, the spawning. So they
yeah.
like breed with flying fish and they fly out of the water and attack people on the beach.
That was the James Cameron one, wasn't it?
Yeah, I love that one. I think it's better than the first.
Do you know, I only seen that for the first time a couple of years ago. Do you remember when Piranha and Piranha 3 Double D came out?
Yeah, see, and I didn't like those as much. I think that they were too forced, with
No,
the
but
comedy.
that's when I seen it. I remember watching the original one when I was younger. It was on the telly, and I was like, that was fucking awesome. And then I could never get
Yeah.
the second one. It was never available, and the copy then that was in the video shop that I worked in didn't work.
Oh no.
So I was like, fuck's sake. And it wasn't on any streaming sites that we had. So I was like, oh, I'll get to it. And then it came on Netflix over here when Piranha 3D got released and Piranha 3 Double D got released on it. So
Okay.
I watched all four of them back to back to back to back. And I was like,
Nice.
this is seriously different to the other ones.
Well, did you know that there's a 1995 made-for-TV movie remake of the original? It's like shot for shot.
No.
Yeah, yeah. Roger Corman produced it. It came out to US TV in 1995, and you can get it on video and stuff. But yeah, it's a direct remake. It's a shot for shot remake of the original, just in the 90s.
Weird. I'm just looking that up to see if I can find it here. Oh,
Yeah, I like
1995.
it. I mean, if you like the original, it's just a 90s version of the original.
Oh, I think I have seen this one. The one with Mila Kunis in it.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, I might have seen that one. Now that I look at the cast and I'm like, that looks familiar.
Yeah.
Uh, no, I would, as I said, I'd never seen Thing up until I watched them all back to back. And it's mad when you
Mhm.
look at James Cameron doing it. I think that was one of his first movies as well, wasn't
Yeah, and pretty notoriously because like the studio took it over and he had to break into the editing room and recut his own version. And
it?
they found out that he did that. And so it came out to Laserdisc, but before it came out to VHS, they fired him. So if you get the Laserdisc version, it's a totally different cut of the movie.
Oh, I'll have to rewatch and see if I can find the two versions and see the difference.
Yeah, yeah, it's cool because his version is more like Terminator, like it has red tinted point of view shots of the fish. It has a totally different soundtrack. It's way different, like structurally.
Interesting. I'll have to go and find that now because that'll do my head in now. Because I hate that when I'm watching movies that I've seen and then I'm like, this is just a different movie.
Yeah, it's totally different. The R-rated one is more like mainstream, faster paced, but his is more like mysterious and creepy and more artistic.
Interesting. Definitely have to go and check that out if I can find it.
Mm.
Um, but back to yourself. Obviously, Apex, I quite enjoyed. I do love those. By the way, some people will put them as sort of B-rated, silly shark movies like Sharknado and stuff. I think they're fucking hilarious. I think they're great to watch. The
I mean,
problem
they're
is
supposed to be stupid. That's the point. I mean,
the problem is you'll get people that, as you said, don't get it that it's not taking itself seriously,
yeah.
and that becomes the issue. And like, stupid sharks can't do this or sharks can't do that. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. I think that there's people that don't understand what camp really is or what low budget movies are. And so there'll be people that'll watch like a movie like Deep Blue Sea or Jaws because it has a similar cover to mine. And then they'll click on mine and be like, why is
Uh,
this so bad? Like they don't understand. They're like looking at it from a totally different perspective. They don't appreciate low budget horror. And I think when you come with that mindset into it, you get what we're going for.
yeah, I mean, they're the two best shark movies for me that you mentioned there, bar none.
Hmm.
Obviously, Jaws is streets ahead of everything still.
Hmm.
And then Deep Blue Sea for me is easily the second best shark movie. People tell me the Meg or the Shallows or stuff, and I'm like, no, you just don't get it. No.
Right.
And then obviously Rennie Harlan coming back to the shark world later on this year with Deep Water.
Yeah.
Which actually, you have a film with
I
called
know. I just made a movie called Deepwater. It came out last summer.
with my boy Joe Esbar in it.
What's that?
Joe was on the show
Yeah,
recently.
yeah.
Yeah,
Joe's in that. Yeah,
yeah,
he flew down here to California to be in it. He's one of
yeah.
the leads in it.
Yeah, he was telling me about it the last time I was talking to him, and I was like, I still haven't got a chance to see it. I don't know if it's out yet.
Yeah, yeah.
Um,
It's not on streaming yet. Right now, it's only on DVD and Blu-ray.
ah, that'd be why I haven't seen it. um, but yeah, he was telling me about it when I had him on the show the back end of last year. He's like, I'm going down to do, or I've just finished doing this one, and he dropped your name in it, and he was talking about it and stuff. I know he's worked with you a couple of times.
Yeah.
And he spoke very highly of you, and I was like, and then he was like, you should get him on the show, and I was like, I'll get there. I just have so much on, and then I add loads of people when they pop up, and I'll send them messages, and then I forget about it, and I'm like, oh, maybe I should respond to that. Sorry, there's a fly flying around, and it's doing my fucking head in. But yeah, so Apex was good. I'm looking forward to seeing Deepwater. Joe obviously, as I said, spoke really highly of it, so I'll get a chance to see it when I see it. Whenever
Awesome.
it comes out for over here. So I know you have sort of your films kind of go from there's no real consistency. You kind of go all over the genre. There's no it goes from creature feature to slasher to zombie. Am I right? This is a zombie one.
Yeah, yeah,
And then I think the alien one. I think I've seen this one. I think I've seen Life Form.
yeah. Probably. I mean, it's been on Amazon for a while, and it's on Tubi now too.
Yeah, we unfortunately we don't have Tubi. Tubi doesn't work over here. They need to
Oh,
pull.
really?
They need to pull the finger out and let Irish people watch it.
Ugh.
Yeah, I'm nearly sure I've seen it. The picture of the alien makes it look very familiar. Obviously, it looks very similar to the xenomorph, but I'm gonna say I've seen it.
Yeah, I mean, very possibly.
Yeah.
There's three of them now. Part three comes out in like 2 months. And Stephanie Gurneau's in that one.
Who is it?
Stephanie, Joe Spar's, they're friends from over east. Stephanie Gurneau.
No.
Oh yeah, he was in Witchcraft 17 with her. They were in VHS Violence. That's how I met them. They acted in VHS Violence Afterlife together.
Ah. Well, that was the one I was going to bring up. Obviously, so you have directed this is. I'm nearly sure this is correct. It's the horror film with the most sequels in Witchcraft.
Oh yeah, yeah, Witchcraft. Yep,
Yeah,
Witchcraft 17.
17 sequels.
Yeah,
17.
like they've been going on since 1988, and yeah, I did number 17.
Yeah. Joe was talking about that one all right. He was like, "Oh, I can't wait to see it." I think you were having a premiere for it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. We
Not
had
long
it was
after I was talking to him.
mhm.
And he's like, "Yeah, I'm going down to the premiere," and I was like, "Oh, fuck off! Get no
He
premieres
actually
here."
didn't make it. We ended up having a scheduling issue. He never made it for the premiere, but he is in Nemesis 6, so he's going to come down for that in like a month.
Oh, nice, nice. Yeah, Joe's a good guy. I like Joe.
Yeah,
I had a great conversation with him. I could have talked to him for fucking. I could have been still talking to him. Um, yeah. So obviously, Witchcraft is a long running franchise, and to get involved in that one, it must have been big for you.
yeah, because growing up at video stores, it was one that you would recognize, at least over here. They had them at all the stores. You'd see that iconic pentagram cover, for the whole series. And so for me, in my head, it's like, well, that's a legit series. If I can make one of those, people will know who I am because they're in all the video stores. And so kind of as a kid, that was in my head. And so it like kind of came to fruition as an adult actually getting to do one. So that was like a point, even though I've done, almost 200 movies, that was the one where I really felt like, okay, I'm like a store shelf director now.
I've made it.
Like people are gonna, because there's such a big fan base for that series, obviously, that there's 17 of them. So for forever, people are gonna be seeing my sequel. And that kind of like cements me there.
I mean, 17. Like, I don't even think what Friday the 13th is probably the closest to it.
Yeah, and they only have 12. They're about to do the 13th film.
Is there a 13th film coming out?
Yeah, well, now that the rights are settled, yeah, they're doing a new one.
Oh, I mean, I didn't mind the '09 reboot. that wasn't bad. I thought Derek
It was
Mears.
better than Jason X and Freddy vs. Jason.
Well, we won't talk about that. Jason X still has the best kill in the whole
Yeah,
franchise.
or the Smash
Yeah,
where she's yeah.
best kill in the whole franchise. Freddy versus Jason is my boy Ken Kersinger. He's been on the show twice, and that movie always kind of holds a soft spot in my heart. Um, Even though it's not a great movie, I says for horror fans, it's brilliant because of what it was. But if
I
you
just think it was 10 years too late because they made Jason Goes to Hell in 1993 and this should have come out right after that. But it waited like 10 years. And I think that that was the difference between like a lot of practical effects and a lot of CGI that they ended up using because it was 10 years later.
I mean, I felt for Ronnie Yu because obviously the whole Kane Hodder versus Robert Englund would have been the iconic moments, and then it didn't go that way, and it was taken out of his hands, so he took a lot of the brunt of it and stuff. I think he done the best with what he had. Um, but for me, I remember going to the cinema, and like I used to go and see stuff that I shouldn't have when I was like 11 and 12. So that was coming out in '03, and I was like 12, and I was in the cinema watching something. I can't remember what it was. And the ad for it came on. I walked out of the cinema. And I was like, good God, it's happening. And like one of my best mates, his brother's girlfriend used to, or ex-girlfriend now, used to work in the cinema.
Mhm.
So we used to get into everything. Like I went to see Saw when it came out in 2004. I was like 13 years old. And
Wow.
I was like, this, yeah. My mom used to be like, what are you going to see? I was like, don't know, whatever's on. Because it used to, the local cinema used to be like a 5 minute walk from my house. And it used to be like £4 in, and I used to get free popcorn and stuff.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, it was great. So you go in and you'd be like, yep. And like I'd be gone for the day. I'd just go in and go movie to movie, seeing whatever was
Awesome.
on. But I remember
Yeah.
seeing the ads for that, and I was like, yes. So then I got to sit down and have a chat with Ken Kersinger probably a year and a half ago, and then
Mhm.
just after For the Love of Horror last year, I had him back on where he was a guest at it in Manchester, and
Mhm.
he's such a good guy. So I always hold a special place to that movie. Yeah.
Yeah, I remember seeing it opening day in the theater. I mean, I think everybody was let down. There was no clear winner, but that they can't really decide on one because
Well,
they're competing
no one
against.
was going to give it up, were they? No,
Yeah,
no production company was giving that up. New Line definitely weren't going to give it up, and
yeah,
thing. And I think it's probably the reason why we didn't get a sequel, and we didn't get potentially the Pinhead one or the Ash Williams one.
yeah.
Now, I don't think the
It's
Ash
too
Williams one
complicated.
would
You
have
can't
worked.
really kill any of those people. Nobody
Yeah,
wants any of them to die.
yeah. Like the Ash one really wouldn't have worked. Like I love Ash as a character, but if you put him in that world, he's not going to win. Like he's going
I
down.
know most of them, most of the combinations don't even make sense. Like honestly, like Freddy would have been better with Pinhead, and Jason would have been better with Michael Myers.
I don't know if Freddy would have been better with Pinhead. 'Cause Pinhead's just too strong. So that
But
kind of
then,
like,
but it's the same. But it's the same logic with Freddy versus Jason. Like, because Jason's just like this mongoloid, and
yeah.
Freddy has supernatural powers. You know.
I think it was the fact that Jason probably couldn't feel pain, couldn't get killed. I thought it was a very clever way of doing it, in what they done, but that was they had to do something. They couldn't just pit the two of them together. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Uh, I was kind of sad Betsy Palmer wasn't in it now myself, uh, as
Yeah.
as Pamela for the 4 seconds that she's in it, but look, it was what it was. They done what they had to do.
Yeah.
So I'm just going down through some of these. I see here, right? So it's not one of your direction movies, but it seems like you were involved in it in Grandma with
Yeah. I
with
directed the second unit stuff actually with the Scream Queens.
oh nice, nice. Obviously Bobby was on the show well, I say recently, it's like 2 years ago now. But Grandma was so fun. That was such a
Yeah.
fun
Yeah. It was.
watch.
I don't know. We just ended up being Facebook friends somehow, and then I saw when he was before he started shooting the film, he put out the first poster and like a teaser trailer, like a concept trailer he shot, and I really liked that because I'm really into the VHS stuff, and everything with my movies too. And so I reached out to him and was like, hey, if there's anything I can do to help, let me know. and he said that he wanted to get some scream queens into it, but because where he lives in the South, nowhere near, LA. And I was like, well, we worked out a deal where I was able to film them here, film the footage. It was like in the diner, like in a flashback. So I did all of that and then sent him the footage, and then he put it in the film.
Oh, nice. Obviously, I've had a few of the people in that on the show before. Angel was on the show. Angel's is just a fucking machine.
Hmm.
That's like that's just a ridiculous talent of a human being right there.
Hmm.
And
Yeah.
Anna Clary was on the show. Hunter Redfern was on the show, and like I was sitting watching it, and I was just like, "This is awesome." It's just a lot of people that I've had on the show that I keep in contact with, and I was like, "This is awesome."
Yeah.
Pure. What would you say? Would you say between 70s and 80s style?
I mean, it was more like late 80s, early 90s shot on VHS.
Yeah, I really enjoyed that. Now I must say, I actually didn't know you were involved in that till just there.
Yeah.
Uh, Bobby's a good guy as well. I like Bobby. A lot of time for Bobby. I've seen a lot.
Yeah.
I've seen, I've seen
We
a lot
did
of
like
it.
a trade. He ended up doing, because it was a trade. Like I did that, and then he shot second unit footage for my Spider Baby remake.
Oh, nice,
Yeah.
nice. Yeah, he's a really good guy. Um, but yeah, that was a good one to get involved with. Now I was very impressed when I watched that one. Um,
Yeah, it was a lot of fun.
and yeah, so obviously you weren't down there on set with him then.
No, like I said, I was doing the LA footage, and then yeah, I just sent him the footage to include.
Nice, nice. It's a shame because I say it looked like a fucking fun cast, fun set. Like for what it was, there was some
Yeah.
sick kills in it too.
Yeah, for
Uh,
sure.
I'm just going down. So you've done a lot of films, right? That really fall into my wheelhouse in terms of Animal Attack, and I know
That was
obviously
a very
they're slightly different in
uh,
terms of the way they are, but I do love a good Animal Attack movie.
me too.
Yeah, it doesn't matter what it is, I'll watch it. Do you know what I mean? I watched one about ants one day. I was like, this is
I love Ants, the movie Ants.
no, not the cartoon. It's like a horror film.
No, no, no. Yeah, it's a '70s movie called Ants.
Oh no, this was relatively recent.
Oh, really?
Yeah. But like the ants were like the size of dogs in it, and
Oh, geez.
I was like, I'm gonna watch it anyway because I have a notorious thing that once I start the movie, I have to finish it. Doesn't matter how bad it is, I have to finish it.
Uh-huh.
And I was watching, it, I was like, if this wasn't an Animal Attack movie, I'd be so sad. Um, and there's one there now. It used to be on Prime, but it's not anymore. After I went to watch it, I went to watch Summer House Slaughter. It's the panda one, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah. It's Cheerleader Camp 2. It's a sequel to Cheerleader Camp. So it was released overseas as Cheerleader Camp to the Death, and then Wild Eye obtained it and retitled it Summer House Slaughter.
Uh, so that one I had saved on one of the streaming sites over here, I think, to watch.
Wow.
And when I went to watch it, it was gone. So
Oh, damn.
I saved through a load of stuff, and I'm like, yep, and then I slowly
I
worked
think
my
you
way
can
through.
watch it on. I think there's like a new YouTube channel that is put Fear Flicks or something that's putting up a bunch of my movies. So you can find it just to watch for free on YouTube now.
Oh, I'll have to get that off you at the end because I'll forget.
Yeah, yeah.
That one was on. Oh shit! Look at this one, Cocaine Cougar. That's definitely after Cocaine Bear. Well, actually, probably
Yeah.
before Cocaine Bear, is it?
We made it at the same time. It was like the mockbuster to it.
Yeah. So Cocaine Bear was actually filmed. Some of it was filmed here where I live, not far from where I live.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I didn't realize
Yes.
it. Yeah, Elizabeth Banks and Ray Liotta and all were down in a pub not far from here,
Oh, wow.
and a few people I know were like, "Yeah, they're all down here." And
That's crazy.
I was like, "That's awesome." And then obviously Ray Liotta died before it came out, which was sad, but I enjoyed the film. I'm gonna go and find that Cocaine Cougar though. I've watched a few of them now. Like
Yeah.
Crack Coon was so funny.
Well, see, the jokes with Cocaine Cougar just kind of write themselves because we could have cougar jokes. So
Yeah,
there's a lot of play on the cougars too in the movie.
I kind of guessed when I seen the animal. I was like, oh, there's gonna be so many jokes in here.
Yeah.
But you can't go wrong though. Sometimes them ones are fun like that. Do you know what I mean?
Well, yeah, because I mean I mean, obviously, Cocaine Bear is meant to be a big joke, but something that's making fun of that even more so. Like, you can't go into Cocaine Cougar thinking it's going to be a serious film, obviously.
And if you do, you probably need to put the bag down.
Yeah, like you're watching the wrong movie.
Going in there, you need to put the bag down, pal. I'm trying to see what else I've seen. I had a list of some of the ones I've seen, but I put it down now. I can't find it. I might have thrown it out. Night of the Clown. Oh, he's done a clown movie.
Yeah, I've done a couple of them.
That
Night of
Night
the
of the
Clown actually got recut and re-released as the Clown Chainsaw Massacre.
Yes. Loving our Chainsaw Massacre title. It pisses so many people off. It's hilarious. Uh, like it's so funny. It annoys so many people. Now I have a very hot take on the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. So I'm in the belief that the '03 one, the Naya Naira, whatever the guy's name is, the one Michael Bay produced, is actually better than the original one.
The which one?
The 2003 one, the other one with Jessica
Oh,
Biel.
okay. Okay. Yeah, yeah.
I'm under the impression that that's better than the original.
Why do you say so?
So for me, I get the original, and the original is amazing up until the dinner scene, right? But you know the way the granddad's in the attic and he's like a skeleton, and then they
Hmm.
bring him down for dinner and he's drinking blood and he comes back to life, and I'm like, why? I was like, you've taken the film serious all the way to here, and then you throw that into it.
Because he's supposed to be a vampire, and so he needs the blood.
Yeah, I get what they went with that, but it didn't make any sense because it didn't fit the story. Like I get the story is like the guy's butchering people because they live in a poor town and there's fuck all food and stuff, so they're killing anyone that comes around or eating them. But the
Well, because
vampire,
you're taking it too literal. That's why, because she goes crazy at the table, so we don't know at that point forward when she has her little breakdown and does the shots of her eyes. We don't know if anything's real at that point. And so this is her hysteria. And so this is how she remembers what happened. He could have just been dead at the table the whole time. We weren't like, you don't want to interpret it too literally from that point forward. It's like right where you said the dinner table scene is where it does completely change tone and it's intentional.
yeah, it always just annoyed me that bit, especially in film. Like I'm like that with any kind of film when something doesn't fit what's happening, it throws me out of the film and then I'm lost. I'm like, oh, okay.
Mm.
Uh, Other than that, though, the film's perfect up until that. Um, and then that from then on, I'm just lost. I'm like, nope, nope. I hate it. I hate it from that point on. And like,
Well, that's
I get the whole thing of her screaming, which would be natural, but that just does my skull in. She hasn't
mm.
screamed once throughout the film, nearly, and then she just doesn't stop for like 10 minutes. And
Right.
I'm like, yeah, no, no. The old tree one though was phenomenal. Orly Emery was just immense as the granddad.
I just felt that I thought Arlie Ermy was great, but I think the film's overly pretentious.
Okay.
I think that Marcus Nispel is a very pretentious filmmaker. I think all his movies look exactly the same, and that was a perfect example. It's made for like a mainstream American audience in its glossiness because what works with the original Texas Chainsaw was that it looks like a documentary that was shot on 16 millimeter. It looks like almost like a home video of these friends in the 70s. And they like completely changed that aesthetic with the remake and made it a different kind of film.
I get that as well. It was definitely a lot cleaner, and you could tell it was a movie rather
Mhm.
than the look of, oh, this was filmed. But
And that's why I think that's why the original, because if you think about it, the original still stands the test of time. When you say Texas Chainsaw Massacre, people think of the original. They don't think of the 2003 remake. Because even since then, there's been other remakes like the Netflix one and the 2013 one, and there's been all these different iterations. But I think it always goes back to the original source material.
oh well, the less said about that 2022 Texas Chainsaw, the better. The Netflix one. Oh, good
I didn't
God.
think it was that bad. I thought it was fine.
Oh, good God.
What was wrong with it? What did you not like?
What was right with it?
It had a
Uh,
massacre. It was
they,
the first movie with a massacre.
but they basically nerfed everything in terms of, so He's a family member in the original one, right? So it's supposed to be a direct sequel to the first one,
Hmm.
right? So he's what, 1982? Is it? I think the first one's set in,
No, the very first movie came out in 74.
or sorry, 74, 74. Right. So you're talking 60 years, 50 years, right?
Hmm.
Give or take. Can you see that fly
Hmm.
flying around? I can see it in the back of the camera. um,
Uh-uh.
I just see it bobbling along sometimes. Right, so he's 50s, right? So you'd say when Texas Chainsaw 1 came out, he's a full grown adult.
He's supposed to be, I think, 21 in the original because he's
So
like
that would
a stupid
uh,
teenager or whatever.
so that would make him into his late
He'd be like
70s.
70. Yeah.
But nah, he takes the chainsaw out of the wall and he's just going to town. I was like, no, it just didn't fit the bill. And then they were like, he's been in this orphanage since he was a child, which didn't make any sense. And like,
Right.
I was like, he was pretty much butchering people with his family when he was like 20, and then all of a sudden he's still living in an orphanage somewhere. You know what I mean? I was like, no. They changed it too much to fit the story. And there wasn't one likable character in the film. Not one.
I don't think that, but you can have your own opinion.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And like I know a lot of people that liked it. For me, I was just like, no, not at
Yeah,
all.
I thought it was. I like all of them except for the 2017 Leatherface. I thought that was awful.
Which one was that now?
That was the prequel to the 2013 one. It was just called Leatherface. It came out in like 2017 or something, like
Oh, is that the
2018.
one with the puddle showing the chainsaw as the image? I think.
Yeah,
Yeah, I didn't watch it.
it's like a crime movie, like a road movie. It's not even. It doesn't even have Leatherface in it.
Oh no. Like
Yeah, it was terrible.
I remember going to see the 2013 one, the one with Alexandra Daddario and stuff. I was all right for what it was. People hate on it. I was like, they're
Well,
not.
it got screwed up with the dates because it people don't realize that movie takes place in the 90s. That's why they wear 90s clothes. They have a van.
Yeah,
Everything in it is 90s. But what happened was when they screened it to test audiences, they didn't like that it seemed dated. So they went and they changed the scene. There was a scene where a cop was using a radio and a flashlight, and they changed it to him using a smartphone. And so when they did that, they had to go back and blur all the dates on the tombstones throughout the movie. If you watch, there's CGI grass covering the year on all the tombstones. There's little blurs and smudges on the dates on the paperwork because they had to change the timeline after they already shot it. So it
yeah.
looks like a 90s movie that they're trying to say is 2013 in post. I think
And
that's what's bad.
it ends up making her in her 40s,
Yeah, when she's not supposed to be because it fits in the 90s, she's in her 20s, which is why she's cast in her 20s.
and she sure doesn't look 40.
No. They
Yeah.
so they didn't think that through, obviously, when they added the smart. If they just took that smartphone scene out and went back to calling it a 90s movie, it'd make perfect sense.
It had the ultimate cheesy line as well of "Do your thing, cuz." That was
Which is great. So
yeah.
many people hate that, and I think it's perfect for Texas Chainsaw Massacre. That's
It,
the attitude. Like Texas Chainsaw 4 is full of dialogue like that.
Tree was similar as well. It was kind of satire and
If you actually like Texas Chainsaw, I don't know why you would have a problem with that dialogue. So many people hated it. I'm like, I thought it was perfect.
I remember going and seeing it in the cinema with my missus, and I was like, this is awesome shit. You only like it because she's in it, and I was like, no. I was like, he's got a chainsaw. He's fucking people up. I
Yeah,
said, what
it was
more do you want?
brutal.
Yeah, it was good. It was in 3D as well.
Yeah, I saw it in 3D in the theater. That
Yeah.
was fun.
So
Like when he threw the chainsaw, it was during the carnival scene, and he like throws the chainsaw right at the screen. Everybody in the theater ducked. I remember.
it was so good. Gosh,
Yeah,
I must rewatch that soon. I haven't seen that since I seen it in the cinema.
yeah, it's a fun one.
Right, I'm just going back through to see. You've got a couple of Snake movies, Rattlers. I imagine that's going to be awesome. Loving out
Yeah, it's a
Snake
sequel to
movie.
the '70s movie Rattlers. It's Rattlers 2, and there's a different cut of it that got released as Big. Can I cuss on your show?
Yep.
And it's called Big Fucking Snake, like the new version.
Do you know if I seen that in a video shop, I'd watch it. 100
Exactly.
100%. I had a thing where I watched a lot of films that had curse words in the titles as well. I was like, yep, if it's got a curse word in the title, I've got to watch it.
What's gonna grab people's attention, obviously, especially when it's a play like that, because it could mean a man's unit or a snake.
Yeah, which is kind of funny. They all play on words. I didn't. I'm gonna actually have to go and watch that if it's a sequel. I'll have to watch the first one. Interesting. Jeez, you really do like casting Sean C. Phillips, don't you?
Well, only up to a certain point. We actually don't work together anymore, but we did from like 2016 to like 2020.
Oh, well, we won't go into that then. That's for a different.
Yeah, we run with different crowds. It's all right. It happens.
Yeah, life.
Hmm.
Mm. I'm just going through some of them. The Clown Chainsaw Massacre.
Yeah, that's what I was telling you about. That's the new version of Night of the Clown.
Nice, nice. See, like this, like I'm on your IMDb here, and it keeps popping up that they're on Prime, and I already know they're not on my
Yeah, they
Prime.
might not be over there on Prime.
My Prime is shit.
Yeah, that sucks.
Uh, Amityville in the Hood. Yes,
Yep, I did
love
three
it.
Amityville movies.
Love an L Amityville movie.
What's that?
I love an L Amityville movie.
Yeah, I did three of them, and they're actually their own trilogy. I did Amityville Toy Box, Amityville Clown House, and then Amityville in the Hood.
Nice. Actually, funny enough, I haven't seen this one, but I will watch it because I tend to watch them all. Not a huge fan of the originals. I like the Ryan Reynolds one, but
See, these ones that I did were similar to the 90s ones, like the Cursed Object movies, where it's like a possessed item.
yeah,
So I made Amityville Toy Box is like a little animatronic toy monkey, one of those antique toy monkeys that's possessed. And so that's sort of like the center culprit of the first one. And then in the second one, that ties into this guy that used to dress as a clown. So there's like a ghost of a clown appearing. And then Amityville in the Hood, it's actually we work in the toy, but it's actually about like these guys in Compton, like this gang that they grow weed in the basement of the Amityville house. And so they take it from over to Compton, over here to California, and they sell it on the streets. And it's called Amityville possession weed. So anybody who smokes it becomes possessed.
nice. Can't beat them. Like, I actually watched one there recently that I didn't even know existed. My missus found it. I watched the Amityville: The Awakening.
Yeah, that was a decent one.
Uh,
It was like a studio film.
I know this is the one that Blumhouse done, the one with McKenna Grace and
Yeah. It's like 2014 or something.
yeah, it's a student film, is it?
Yeah, it's a studio. Well, yeah, it's like a Bloomhouse. Like it came out to theaters.
Yeah, I didn't even know it existed. I thought it was
Yeah,
brilliant.
yeah. That's what kickstarted. That's the reason I made my first one because that came out to theaters here. That a bunch of smaller companies wanted to make mockbusters. So Wild Eye hired me to make my first Amityville movie because of that Amityville movie.
Oh, nice, nice. Well, that kind of segued quite nicely there. Yeah, well, we watched it recently. I was very impressed with it. I was like, this is awesome.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah. It was well made.
some good casting as well. Obviously, McKenna Grace is a child in it. Cameron Monaghan as the brother, who is just brilliant in everything. And then
Hmm.
Jennifer Jason Leigh, and then Jennifer Morrison. I was like, what the fuck? What kind of casting is this?
Yeah.
And then is it Bella Thorne as the older sister?
Hmm.
I was like, this is awesome. Some cool
Yeah,
effects
yeah.
there
It
as
was
well.
under the radar of a lot of people, I guess.
And then we obviously go back to Bobby. He has one as well that I watched recently. The Amityville Ripper.
How was that?
I thought it was so funny. It was so funny. And then again, it had a lot of the people that I've had on the show in it.
Mm.
Um, but it was done very similar to. Do you remember Robin Hood Men in Tights,
Yeah.
where you see the scene where they're talking to the director and stuff?
Oh, right.
There's a lot of
Breaks the fourth
third
wall.
wall breaks in it or fourth wall breaks in it, which is hilarious. But yeah, I enjoyed it. I thought it was very funny.
Nice.
Um, you've got a couple of spider movies, Arachnado. I think I just need to get a VPN and get an American Amazon Prime. Did I?
Well, like I said, a lot of these are on YouTube. You can search for most of those and probably find them on YouTube now.
I did see. I did not know that. I very always forget to go to YouTube to watch movies.
And everybody has a YouTube app on their TV too. It's like it's super easy to do.
Yeah, or like I have it on my phone and I use it for certain things, but I never think to go looking for fucking movies on it.
Yeah.
Actually, I'll give you a movie to watch if you're looking for something that's on YouTube. Right, it's on the Kings of Horror page. It's called Life of Bell.
Oh yeah, yeah. I know. I haven't seen it, but I know of it.
Oh, it's so good. It's so fucking good. Um, Sean Robinson. I had to think of his name there. It's so good. He directed
Yeah.
it.
See, Kings of Horror has a bunch of my stuff too, actually, on the Kings of Horror channel.
All right. Okay. That one I do follow, so I'll have to go and look on that.
Yeah.
Oh, you've got the dummies, the ventriloquist dummies. Ugh. Yeah, they're. I like the things, but I kind of get weirded out when their mouth moves and doesn't move. Then I'm like, no, no. It's one. I think it's one of the reasons that I love Dead Silence.
Oh yeah,
That was a good
that's a good
one.
one. Mhm.
Funny enough that you mentioned the Amityville toy box. So it's listed here on IMDb as the Amityville Legacy.
Yeah, so it's very confusing because so what happened was I decided to independently on my own make Amityville Legacy, and then Robert Wildeye wanted a competition movie to Amityville: The Awakening, so he obtained Amityville Legacy from me, recut it, added new footage at the end, and retitled it Amityville Toy Box. And by the time I was done with that, I was making my own sequel. So I made a sequel called Amityville: Evil Never Dies, and he did the same thing. He bought that, he recut it and added clown scenes and released it as Amityville Clown House.
Oh, so it was
So it's
a
confusing, but yeah, they both have two titles.
this one I have seen Meat Hook Massacre. That one
Yeah, and
I
that's on Kings of Horror. Yeah.
oh I don't know where I seen it, but I've seen it. This one was fun. This is the one with the mask with all the lines on it.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that was a 2015 like shot on VHS movie. There's actually 13 of them in the series now. We just did the reboot last year.
Oh, I don't think I've seen any more of them.
Yeah, it becomes a whole series with like a wild, crazy family, like kind of like Texas Chainsaw. Like it's just him in the first one, but then starting in part two, we introduce his whole family as a crazy sister, a mom and a dad. Like so, there's a whole family.
I suppose you kind of would have to, though, wouldn't it? It'd be kind of get a bit boring if it's the same person.
Yeah, you gotta add the backstory and everything.
Yeah. You were involved in Sleepaway Camp 2.
Yeah,
That can't be. That can't be right. Sleepaway Camp 2
yeah.
didn't come out in 2018, did it?
It was the release on Blu-ray. They hired me to film new scenes for it. So I filmed because there's a scene for the end of the movie that was never shot, that was scripted. So they hired me to film it. So we got new actors that were like doubles for the actors, and we shot the end of Sleepaway Camp 2. And then we also shot. There's a scene at the beginning where they're sitting around the campfire telling the backstory about like this girl that's going through a graveyard and she finds her boyfriend dead in a mortuary. So we actually shot that too. And so they included it as special features in the Blu-ray.
Oh, I was looking at that gun. There's definitely a different film. I loved Sleepaway Camp 1. It was awesome.
Oh yeah, yeah. So there's yeah that because I edited part four, like I mentioned. That's how I actually started in the business. I think that was why they tapped me to do the stuff for part two.
Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome. I didn't know that was a thing. I need to go and find that now.
Yeah, it's on the Shout Factory Blu-ray.
Nice. Nice. See, I don't even own the Blu-ray, so there's no point in me even saying I'm going to buy it because I've nothing to play it on. The Legend of Boggy Creek. That one I've seen too. That's the Bigfoot movie.
Yeah, yeah. I did the Legacy of Boggy Creek. It's a sequel to it, and it actually
Yeah.
got released as Bigfoot Creek from Wildeye.
So that was the one. The original one was like the 70s, wasn't it? It was the one with the red
Mhm.
background.
Yeah, so like the original one has all of the encounters with the skunk ape up to 1972. So mine picks up in 1973 and goes to 2012.
Oh, I didn't realize that. So I haven't seen it. I thought it was the original one, but then I was like, no, that doesn't make any sense. That one I'll have to go
Yeah,
and
no,
see.
it's the same.
I really enjoyed the original one, so if it carry on from that, I'd be quite happy to see it.
Mhm.
Um, Camp Blood, yeah, loads of those kind of teen slasher killer ones are awesome. Sleepaway Camp 4, The Survivor. So that's the one you edited. That was your first one.
Yeah, it was the first thing I did that like came out. Yeah.
Nice. Jeez, as I said, I didn't even know there was a fourth one.
Most people don't because they were shot in 1992 and then they went bankrupt and it didn't get released until when I worked on it and it came out in 2013.
Hold on. This here says that Felissa Rose is in the fourth one.
Yeah, well, because it's Eclipse movie. So it's like new footage of the survivor and she's talking about her memories of what happened at the camp. And so we show clips from one, two, and three. So she's
Ah,
in the
so
clips from part one.
that would make sense. I was like, how is she in that? Because she definitely didn't survive.
No.
You get the infamous head carrying scene.
Uh-huh.
Uh, Um, VHS. You were involved with the VHS franchise.
No, it's VHS violence. So it's like a mockumentary or mockbuster to that series. So every time a VHS movie comes out, we go make VHS violence. And it's almost the same
Ah,
thing.
I see. I was looking at it. I was like, I didn't know it was called that. I
Yeah,
quite
that's how I
enjoyed
met
those
With
ones.
Joe Spar. Because Joe Spar's first thing he did was for me for VHS Violence Afterlife.
Oh, nice. That's the one I actually have open here, the purple background. Interesting.
Yeah. Yep.
I'm gonna have to go and find some of these on Facebook because I do love an old sort of a mock make of a film. I get the like the scary movie kind of way. Uh,
Yeah.
I do love them now, I must say. And there's about 600 uh, animal attack movies that I need to go and find as well, because I do love an animal attack. So I'll tell you what then, right? Because I don't want to hold you too long into your evening. I'm going to throw you a couple of questions, and then we'll get you out of here so that your whole day isn't taken up, right?
Sure.
Oh, as a director with 181 films, right? If you could direct any horror film for a direct reboot, what would you do?
I would make a sequel to Halloween 3, Season of the Witch.
No, no, no. But if you were to make one, so it's a direct, it's a reboot, like straight up, not like
Like a
a
straight up reboot.
yeah. If you had to pick one to do, but also I'd be very interested to see a sequel to Halloween 3 because it's clinically underrated.
I know.
Mm,
I would probably make my own Texas Chainsaw Massacre because I feel like no one's done it right. And I'm a massive fan of it, and I think I could do it right.
Fair enough. Fair enough. That's You're the third person I've asked, and that's the first time Texas Chainsaw has been mentioned.
I
So
mean, because that's what Meat Massacre is. Meat Massacre was like my tribute to that. I made 13 of them. So I mean, I'm really into it. And I from the Midwest, sort of like where the atmosphere is like that and very rural farmland. So I understand aesthetically what it needs to look like, I think, for people to really appreciate what it should be.
So actually, then I don't know if you had a chance to see it yet, but there's one that's very similar to it now that came out the back end of last year called Brute 1976, 1973.
So the director of that directed Seed 2, and I just directed Seed 3. So I know him pretty well.
Marcus, is it?
Marcel Walls.
That's the one, yeah.
Mhm.
I actually had Sarah French on, who's the main
Yeah,
girl in,
she's in it.
yeah.
Hmm.
But that's very, very good. It's
Hmm.
nearly like a love letter to Texas Chainsaw.
Yeah.
If you haven't had a chance, it's fucking awesome.
Hmm.
Um, right, okay, so Texas Chainsaw will be the one, right? Okay, so then throw me your top five horror movies.
Halloween 3, The Texas Chainsaw Massacre, House of a Thousand Corpses, and Terror in the Isles.
Wow. Normally people are like, that's a tough question. I've seen
I know.
four.
I
I've
know.
seen four of I've seen four of those five.
So you haven't seen Terror in the Isles, I'm guessing?
Yeah, I'm looking
That
it up.
was Universal put it out when Halloween 2 first came out as like a vehicle piece to promote that. And it's a compilation of all their movies up to 1982. And it's like recut with Donald Pleasance. He's
I'm
like
looking.
the host. He like sits in a movie theater and he hosts the clips. It's really cool.
I'm just looking at. I was looking at the cast, and I was like Donald Pleasance, Nancy Allen, Dustin Hoffman,
Yeah,
Anthony
it's
Perkins.
because all
I was
these
looking at the
movies.
names, and I was like, these don't add up because these are all from different films.
Yeah, so Nancy Allen and Donald Pleasance are the hosts, and then everybody else's names are from the clips.
Nice.
It's
Right.
really worth seeking out because it's its own movie that has its own score, and so they take all these clips from these movies and they recut them in a way that it tells a whole new story, kind of like the history of horror in like its own movie. It's really good. It's hard to describe.
I just wrote that down there to watch
I mean, it's in my top five for a reason. It's
to add to my ever growing list of films, and I'm just like, oh god. I opened up the list the other day, and there was like 212 films on it, and I was like, good god.
you better get cracking.
I've watched 165 films this year alone
That's
since
pretty good.
January 1st,
That's like a
and
movie a day or more.
two movies a day.
Yeah.
Uh, I struggled really badly at the start of the year to sleep, so I was staying up to like 3 o'clock watching movies and then going to bed.
Oh wow.
So I was like, nope. Now I'm starting to get back to normality. I'm doing one a day, but on the weekends now I'll watch 2 or 3 films with the kids, and I'm
That
like,
makes sense.
yeah. But I'm starting to get the young fella into horror, so I'm going back through some of them.
Oh, that's fun.
Yeah. Well, he's 9, so I'm picking and choosing what he can and can't watch.
Mhm.
So it's hard to try and find the old school ones that don't have fucking ridiculous amounts of gratuitous nudity in it.
Well, see, here's my stance on that. Like, I actually think the opposite. I think it's better that kids at a young age they see nudity than that they see violence. Because nudity is natural and they're gonna see nudity throughout their life.
Yeah.
Violence, they're not. They're not gonna see people decapitated throughout their lives.
I,
So I
I
think it's better.
I get that. That's a good point. The problem is,
It's like I think if they understand, because well, I don't know how it is in the UK, but in America, especially, like a lot of the younger generation have really bad sexual hangups. A lot of kids don't like sex. A lot of things are changing in that. And I think it's because of the repression. I think that because people are so afraid of sex, because we don't show it in a natural way, people see violence and we have gun violence, people dying every day from gun violence here, but people won't have sex. So I think if we just explain to a 5 year old what a boob is and why it exists versus why a man's getting decapitated, I think society would actually be healthier.
I suppose that's a very valid point to think about it that way. The problem is for me, right? So
You're just uncomfortable. You just don't want to explain it to your kid. But
no, no,
that's on you though. You got to explain it to your kid so that your kid's not uncomfortable explaining it to his kid later.
no, no. So I've no issue explaining it to him. The problem is he'll go in and tell his teachers, and then I
Well,
have
but
to.
it's legal to show them, right? If he's with an adult, it's not like it's illegal for you to
Oh
show
yeah,
that to your kid.
no, no, I know. I just don't want to have these conversations with the teachers again.
Yeah.
So I went in one day to collect him from school, and by the way, he's 9, right? So he's got ADHD and he's got autism, so he hyper fixates on certain films he likes, right?
Mhm.
So he has a blue. He used to have a blue dinosaur teddy from Jurassic World, right? And he used to bring it in
Mhm.
for circle time and stuff. And the teacher stopped me one day and she's like, "Oh, he's hyper fixated on playing Call of Duty." Right? Because I started to let him play Call of Duty, and she was like, "Oh, it's a bit extremely graphic for him, isn't it?" And I was like, "Not if you turn the graphics down, no." And she's like, "Oh, and he's also told me that you let him watch Jurassic Park." And I was like, "Yeah, I let him watch
There's
Jurassic
nothing
Park."
wrong with Jurassic Park. All the kids watch Jurassic Park.
So she turned around to me and was like, "Jurassic Park is a 12s movie," and I was like, "No, it's not." I says, "Jurassic Park is a PG movie." I says, "There's absolutely nothing wrong with Jurassic Park." And she goes, "Oh, there's too much violence. I wouldn't even show that to my kids." And he's like 15. And I was like, "That's on you."
Yeah,
Right?
that's okay. She can do that. That's fine.
Right. So I walked away from that conversation and I was like,
Yeah.
thank fuck he didn't tell him what he watched last night. I'd only watched Ace Ventura Pet Detective with him. And I was like, I was nearly sure he was going to bend over and start talking at his ass because he laughed his ass off during that scene. And I was like, thank fuck that didn't happen. And I was like, how do I explain that?
Right.
But like, imagine trying to tell me that I shouldn't be watching Jurassic Park with my child. No, my 2 kids, the 2 kids I have here, like he's 9, she's 7, and we've watched all the Jurassic Parks recently. We're currently watching Godzilla.
There's nothing wrong with it. All little kids watch. There's toys for those movies for a reason. Like little
Yeah,
kids watch that.
it was so funny. She was like, "Yeah, it's a 12 movie." I was like, "Don't try this with me. It's not going to work." I'm the
No,
movie guy.
she sounds kind of prude and prissy.
Yeah, yeah. But the thing is, that's why I'm just trying to keep him away from nudity for the minute. Just like nudity, I don't really care. It's the whole sex bit of it where I don't want to have to try and explain that to a teacher as to why he's watching 2 people riding on a screen.
All right.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
There'd be enough time to figure that one out.
Yeah.
But I watched Jaws with him. Jaws was awesome. He sat there, so he never really sits there for a whole movie. He'll get up and he'll walk around and he'll come back. for 2 hours and 9 minutes of Jaws, he sat in that sofa, did not move once.
That's
And
great.
he was like, I was like, yes, this is awesome. This is awesome. Right. I'll tell you what, I'm going to try the last question of the night then, right?
Yeah.
This one's a tough one, right? So this one comes with a caveat. So if you don't get the correct answer in the 5 choices you have, this episode never comes out, right?
Yeah. Okay.
Um, Give me your top 5 John Carpenter films that he
Oh, my
directed.
top five. This is so easy. Okay. Well, The Thing is probably his best film.
That's the
Uh,
greatest remake of any movie ever.
that's what?
It's the greatest remake of any movie in any
Yeah.
genre
Yeah. It
ever.
is the best remake, hands down. Obviously, Halloween, Big Trouble in Little China, Assault on
Yes.
Precinct 13, and The Fog.
You got it there. Big Trouble in Little China is the greatest movie ever made.
Yeah, I love the movie.
Straight up facts. It's my favorite
Yeah.
movie of all time. It's
It's
so fun.
great.
It's so good. I watched that with him recently as well.
Yeah, that's a good one.
And
Well,
it
and
was
I like the Radon character, like from Mortal Kombat.
yeah. So
So like,
he'd never seen Mortal Kombat. He'd never played Mortal Kombat.
uh,
So we watched that, right? And then I was like, you know what, Finn? I says, I'm gonna watch a movie with you tomorrow. And I put on the 1995 Mortal Kombat.
it's such a good movie. I love
And
it.
he was like, "Is that the guy from Big Trouble in
Yeah,
Little China?" I was like, technically
pretty
no,
much.
but yes. I says that's where that character came from.
Yeah,
Uh, and then we watched the new Mortal Kombat, the 2018 or 2019 one.
that wasn't too bad.
I liked it. A lot of people didn't like it because it was a new character that didn't exist in the game.
Yeah.
And the
It was
fact
better
that,
than Mortal Kombat 2, I thought.
well, I mean, I could direct a better Mortal Kombat than Mortal Kombat 2.
Yeah,
Uh,
that was a
I've,
train
I've never directed anything in my life.
wreck.
I'm sure I could do a better job than that. Fucking Super
Right.
Mario Brothers was better than that,
True.
and that was awful.
Yeah,
Uh,
that was a really bad movie too,
but
actually.
yeah, so I watched the new one with him, and he's like, "Is there any more of these? These are awesome." And I was like, "There's a new one coming out this year,"
Yeah.
and I was like, "Yeah," but I'd said it to him, so he kind of knew some of the characters from Roblox, right? And
Uh-huh.
obviously, you don't get Johnny Cage in the 2019 one, and then right at the very end, you see him, and I was like, "You know who that is?" And he's like, "That's Johnny Cage." And I was like, "Yes."
Right.
I was like,
That's really cool. Actually, Johnny Cage, there's a Mortal Kombat, it's like Chapter One or something that came out a couple years ago. I think it's called Chapter One. But there's a clip, like a cut scene, and Johnny Cage drops the name of one of my movies in the game.
"Oh
Like they
yeah."
made like a, yeah, they referenced my movie. He said, it's him, it's when he fights Ghostface. Ghostface says, "Do you like scary movies?" And Johnny Cage says, "Murder hornets paid for my mansion."
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. That's awesome. Did you get paid for it?
No, no, but everybody tipped me off when it happened when because they released a trailer and then everyone's like, "Oh my God!" So everybody was blowing me up, and I shared the trailer and stuff. But I just thought it
That's
was cool.
awesome. Did you at least get a free copy of the game?
I did, yeah. I have a free copy of the game.
Nice. That's all that matters. So you got paid in the end. Not much.
Yeah, I suppose.
I mean,
I don't have a system to play it on though, but
yeah. Well, I mean, like it's there. Do you know what I mean?
yeah. I mean, it's a part of the history. Like I grew up on Mortal Kombat. That's amazing, and I feel like if they're mentioning your movie in a video game, people know who you are. You know what I mean?
You've won in life.
Yes.
Hashtag winning. Well, Dustin, it's been a pleasure to have you on. As I said, I didn't want to keep you all night. Um, I'm gonna go and find some of those movies, hopefully on YouTube, and actually
Yeah.
start using YouTube to watch movies.
Do it.
Because some of the streaming sites over here aren't great, but that's for a different argument. I wish you all the best with the upcoming movies you have ready to go.
Thank you.
Looking forward to seeing you hitting the 200 mark. I
Thank
give
you.
you 4 days.
Yeah, it'll be probably about that long.
Yeah, 4 days. That's what we're waiting on. Um, but obviously, you said you had 182 and 183 ready to go. Hopefully later on in the year.
Yep.
And I'm looking forward to checking them out. And there is the one, that deep water one, I'm looking forward to seeing. Obviously, it came out the back end of last year, so I will
Yeah.
check that out whenever I get the chance, and I'll hit you up and let you know what I think.
Awesome.
Um, But do you want to let people know where they can find you and find the updates of your movies?
Yeah, like you mentioned, you can find my stuff all over Tubi. I'm on Facebook. That's what I use the most. Just look for the verified account. You can find me on there.
That's where we connected. All right. um, but yeah, it was an absolute pleasure having you on. Um, and
Likewise.
I'm gonna finish this the way I finish every single Friday night. In the words of the great George A. Romero, ladies and gentlemen, stay scared.